Many people in the West, including those in the media, in the elites, or particularly in the political circles, believe, or they say they believe, that China under the Communist Party of China's rule is autocratic. We often hear the buzzwords such as one-party state, no human rights in Xinjiang, that they manipulate viruses in their labs as a potential biological weapon, and so on and so forth. Despite the negativity, what do you think of the Communist Party of China's role in China's pursuit towards modernization so far, and potentially in the future?
Moi, je pense que le grand mérite du Parti communiste, c'est la libération.
I believe the great achievement of the Communist Party of China, or CPC, is first and foremost anti-colonial liberation. Secondly, China has achieved exceptional development gains of historic significance by lifting the country out of poverty and even enjoying a certain level of affluence.
Un certain luxe même.
I think only the CPC could have accomplished this. If not for the CPC, perhaps there would have been a division among different parties in China, but it would have led to a dead end. I think eradicating poverty is indeed a great, exceptional accomplishment of historical proportions.
Je pense que c'est vraiment un grand mérite, historiquement exceptionnel, je pense.
Why do you think the Communist Party of China is able to achieve what you just said, the liberation of China, the development? What about the Communist Party of China that enables it to play such a huge role? You can answer in French.
Parce que le Parti communiste est très proche du peuple.
Because the CPC is very close to the people. During the war, during anti-colonial liberation, it was very close to the people, and it still is now. We call it the CPC's mass line, whereby the party and the people have a close-knit relationship.
Il est très, très proche. Il observe toujours tous les sentiments dans le peuple.
The CPC always listens to people's concerns, responds to their needs by taking action, and communicates in a way that is easily understandable. I believe that compared to Western capitalist parties or even social democratic parties, the CPC is much closer to the people. This is exceptional.
Même social-démocrate vis-à-vis du peuple. Alors ça, c'est exceptionnel.
Some people would say, look, you say that the Communist Party of China is very close to the people and it stays close to the people. But for instance, the government of China or the leader of China is not voted out by popular vote. How can these two be combined? How can China achieve the objective of being close to the people, right? Serve their needs, feel their pulses, and still without adopting the one person, one vote model of the West?
Yes. Moi, je pense que le vote dans le sens des pays occidentaux,
I think the Western voting system is superficial. Elections are held only once every 4 years. It lacks depth, whatever the result is.
Tandis que le système chinois, comme je le connais un petit peu, il a différents niveaux des instruments démocratiques.
Whereas the Chinese system, which I am familiar with, has democratic institutions and people's congresses at different levels.
Populaire, dans tous les niveaux, il y a le parti qui est très proche de la population à la base.
So not only is the party close to the people, but it also blends with the population. It is an advantage compared to elections every 4 years, as we have in Western countries.
Un avantage vis-à-vis d'un vote chaque 4 années, comme nous l'avons dans les pays occidentaux. Alors, je pense, c'est vraiment.
I told a friend of mine 3 weeks ago at a conference that I even think there's more democracy in China than in Western countries.
Meeting public, Je pense même qu'en Chine, il y a plus de démocratie que dans les pays occidentaux.
Wow, that is, that is really, a lot of people would say that's astonishing that you would say in China there's more democracy than in a Western country. Would you want to say a little bit more about that? Because, this is toppling for a lot of people in the West, thinking, how come, when they talk about China is autocratic, it's undemocratic, and yet you think that there is more democracy in China than in many Western countries.
Voyez, si quelqu'un me demande cette question dans la rue,
If someone asked me this question on the street, I would say, look, the US government, for example, does not represent the people. It is instead an oligarchy that is remote from the people. Similarly, the Macron government in France does not represent the people at all, as it's controlled by a minority and doesn't represent the interests of the majority.
Et il représente nullement la majorité du peuple. Aussi en Allemagne, il y a des sondages.
In Germany, opinion polls often show that the majority of people support peace, yet the government supports Ukraine by providing weapons against Russia.
Soutient avec des armes l'Ukraine contre la Russie. Alors, je pense, si on dit au peuple, regardez, vous êtes d'accord que...
I think that if you tell the people, your government here in the West is not really a government for the people, by the people, they will agree and say it's true. I'm not happy with my government because it didn't help me during the pandemic, etc. And I say that if you agree with that, you really have to be clear-eyed about what's happening in China.
Si vous êtes d'accord, il faut vraiment voir avec des yeux objectifs ce qui se passe en Chine.
Mm-hmm. China has vowed to follow a unique Chinese path to modernization. Chinese President Xi Jinping said in the 20th National Congress report last October that we have put forward the Chinese dream of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation and proposed promoting national rejuvenation through a Chinese path to modernization. So how do you understand, Professor Schneider, how do you understand this notion and what are the implications for the world, the Chinese path to modernization?
C'est vraiment cette notion de modernisation que je développe dans mon...
It is the very notion of modernization that I look into in my book. I explain that China can always do two things at the same time, while Westerners can only focus on one thing.
Les Occidentaux ne peuvent seulement faire une chose.
Ça veut dire quoi? Il peut pas...
C'est vrai.
Il peut pas faire la cuisine et écouter la musique en même temps.
Non, ils ont adopté la modernisation.
They can't. The Chinese have adopted Western modernization and capitalism, but they have not been Westernized. They have not changed everything in favor of capitalism and have remained true to themselves.
Alors, ils sont restés eux-mêmes. Comment? Parce qu'ils ont une grande tradition, une grande culture.
How? Because of its great traditions and great culture, dating back 5,000 years, from which China can benefit because it can make up a hybrid model.
Faire un propre chemin de modernisation. C'est une modernisation hybride, on pourrait dire. Des skills.
Hybrid because it benefits from the capabilities of the West, but it also follows its own path.
Ce mix de ma propre culture avec une
This mixture of its own culture with a made-in-the-West modernization provides vitality. And this vitality is a characteristic of China, which is strong thanks to this combination of culture and economy. So I think it is really a great strength.
De culture et économie. Donc, je pense que c'est vraiment une grande force.
What are the implications for the world? What would it mean for people in Switzerland, in the United States, in Germany, in Africa, in Latin America?
Je pense que les gens du Sud, alors des pays sous-développés, ils ont assez, ils ont marre de...
I think that people in the South, in developing countries, are tired of US and European imperialism and colonialism, and they see an alternative path to development in which the state plays a large role. And the economy can develop, but not in the way it does in the West, and the people can benefit from it.
L'économie peut se développer, pas dans un sens de l'Ouest, mais dans un sens qui donne un profit pour le peuple. Je pense que l'Afrique, l'Amérique latine...
I think Africa, Latin America, and Asian countries look to China because there is a new path of development that offers a guarantee. The guarantee is that China has developed like no other country. It has become a great power.
D'où vient disons, la garantie? La garantie, c'est qu'on peut observer que la Chine s'est développée comme pas d'autres pays. Elle a un succès.
I think the Chinese dream is really something different from the American dream, because the American dream was the dream of a few individuals. In contrast, the Chinese dream is the dream of the entire people.
Le rêve américain, c'était le rêve de quelques individus. Tandis que le rêve chinois, c'est le rêve de tout le peuple. Et aussi, c'est pour cela que c'est très...
That is why it is very attractive to African countries and countries in the global South. That's really something else.